Team. Team, 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 team. I even love saying the word team. You probably think that's a picture of my family. It's the A-Team. Bodie, Doyle, Tiger, the jewelry man, the whole lot of them.
I bet you can't tell what I'm talking about today. Hey everyone, so tonight I'm going to talk a little bit about team sports and a little bit about mental health, so bear with me. So when it comes to mental health, I've been on a small dose of an SSRI for about a year and a half now. And that's because I was feeling pretty low and I was having some issues. I wasn't motivated, I was narky, and just generally sad, I guess. And I knew it was more than just being sad the way everybody gets sad, so I decided I'd go to a doctor and talk about it, and they said, try this for a while. And I did, and it helped a lot. Over that year and a half, there's been times when I'd run out of medication and my prescription wouldn't be refilled for another couple of days. It happens, and it's honestly no big deal. But this time, because I'm sick, my prescription actually ran out the weekend? No, today's Tuesday. My prescription would have ran out maybe the middle of last week, and because I was sick, I'm making a doctor's appointment for tomorrow, so obviously I'm just going to renew my prescription with them then, which means that I've been off my medication for about a week now. Now, it's no big deal, but I have started to notice that I'm finding it more difficult to get up in the morning, and now that could be because I'm sick, or it's cold, or it could be something else. I'm also starting to get narkier, just cranky. Now that could be because I'm sick, or because it's the middle of winter, or I'm hungry, or it could be something else. Honestly, I'm not worried, and again, I am seeing the doctor tomorrow, so that's not a problem. I am happy that over time I've developed the skills to realize when something starts to be a problem or a pattern starts to develop that I don't want, which is an important skill to have, and one that I didn't even know I didn't have when I didn't have it. But one thing I can tell you is that if this has happened a year ago, things would have gone a lot further downhill a lot faster. And honestly, apart from me having more, I suppose, experience with dealing with my own symptoms, I think the big difference here is my rugby team. And the reason I mention this is because our last match before Christmas is on this Saturday, and I have to go to a work thing, so I can't play. Now, my team understands that. We're a social team, first and foremost, and like, work is work, work is real life, work has to come first. But it's killing me that I won't be there with them. I really wish that the work thing was the week after, or, you know, during the actual work week would be nice. But that's how it is. Now again, I've been pretty sick for the last while, and I'm constantly coughing and stuff at training. So chances are, 1, I wouldn't be starting. 2, I'm not sure how much of an impact I'd even be able to make as a sub on this particular game day. But I hate not being there if my team needed me. And I think part of that is there's an accountability now that I'm part of a team. I know early on in like pre-season, a few weeks in, there was a day when like I was just feeling tired and not motivated, and it was possibly wet. I really didn't want to go to training. And I know if that had been me going to the gym, I would have said, I'll give it a miss tonight. Whereas this time I thought, ugh, I can't let my team down, I suppose. But that made me go. You know, that did what I needed it to do. Being part of a team gives you a sense of belonging, which A, is nice, but also getting into the mental health aspect of things is really important. So I was reading an article earlier on by the Faculty of Sport and Exercise Medicine that said that 1, mental health problems are super common, but also that they account for the largest single source of disability in the UK at, I think, 23%. In that same article, it mentioned that depression affects 3.3 in every 100 people. General anxiety disorder, I think, is 5.6 in 100, and depression and general anxiety together affects like 7.8 out of every 100 people. Now those are pretty big numbers. So if you're feeling down, I know they all say you're not alone, but you're really not. A lot of people are going through this, and probably people you already know. The Royal College of Psychiatrists also recognise exercise prescription as a legitimate treatment option for a wide range of mental health conditions. So why teams? Why not just go for a run? Well, honestly, that helps. It helps a lot. I loved running. I used to run a lot, and I started off hating it, ended up loving it, and got to the stage where, it's not that I dislike it, it's that I know how good I was, and also how much work it's going to take to get back there. But running is amazing. Also, when I ran, it was like meditation. Lifting weights for me was like meditation. Just everything else went out the window because I was focused on what I was doing. And that's important. Regarding teams in particular, the Journal of Sports Science and Medicine did a study looking at individual athletes versus team athletes and the effects of anxiety and depression on those. Basically, they looked at 756 athletes between the ages of 6 and 18 and looked at self-reported incidents of anxiety and depression. First of all, 13% of individual athletes versus only 7% of team athletes reported either anxiety or depression. Also, when they looked at motivations for actually participating in your sport, they looked at things like fun and making friends versus more goal-oriented motivations like scholarships or managing weight. Individual athletes were more goal-oriented than their team athlete counterparts, I suppose, with 30% looking for goal-oriented like scholarship or weight management reasons for participating in the sport versus 21% of team athletes. And again, this is more, I want a scholarship or I want to manage my weight rather than I want to have fun. So chances are, while if you're an individual athlete and you're engaged in your sport, you probably love your sport and more power to you. If you've been away from sport for a long time or you haven't taken part in sport since like PE classes in school, it's hard to get out there and just start running. Sorry, it's not hard to get out there and start running. Literally anybody with 2 legs can do it, but the motivation is tough. Knowing that you don't want to run a mile is tough. But if you can go out there with a running club, it's easier. And there's that accountability element and it's more like a team. But if you can go out there with a team, it's much, much better. I personally find. Now, the physical benefits of exercise are well known. You're going to build stronger bones, you're going to build stronger muscles, you're going to lower your blood pressure and cholesterol and decrease your likelihood for heart disease. But the mental aspects aren't always pointed out or aren't necessarily as obvious until you're doing it. First of all, there's the social aspect. So human connection and interaction is really important for mental health and also just for feeling like you belong, which obviously is going to be different to a feeling of loneliness or isolation, which can so often come with mental health conditions. Also, exercise is a proven de-stressor. So when I first started getting fit and I was lifting weights, that's when I sort of found out about meditation and mindfulness and stuff, and just trying to empty your mind and count your breaths or whatever, which is easier said than done by far. But if I was lifting a heavy weight, all I could do was concentrate on pushing that weight, and obviously if I was counting 10 reps in a set, I was counting that constantly. So all I thought about was that weight moving. Similarly, when I was running, the first while I would just probably end up talking to myself and just being angry at whatever I was angry about before. But eventually, honestly, I was just too tired to do that, and I would just have to concentrate on my breathing to make sure I could keep going, which soon turned into just this rhythmic kind of reflex action, and it cleared my mind better than any meditation I've ever had before. So when it comes to rugby, it's more fast paced because I'm not out there, doing a 5 mile straight line. But again, you have to focus on what's happening around you at that moment. You can't think, oh my God, I've got an ESB bill to pay, I've got a phone bill to pay, or I was late to work yesterday, or somebody was mean to me. You have to focus on, give me the ball, give me the ball, give me the ball. And that is a lot easier to do than some of the other stuff out there. You're literally completely in the moment, totally focused, and that just allows your mind while obviously there's an element of stress in the game because there's meant to be, but it allows your mind to free yourself of all the other stresses in your life, even if it's only for 80 minutes at a time. And there's the added benefit of endorphins, which are always nice. You're going to hit things hard, you're going to run hopefully fast. You're like the endorphins, the feeling of actually scoring, you know, you're not going to beat it. You're going to feel. I remember after my first game being on such a high. I couldn't believe I had all this energy, and I knew that the next day I was going to be so sore, and I was. But that day, nothing could bring me down at all. Nothing. It felt amazing. Teamwork also helps to develop leadership skills, which can be applied in obviously other areas of your life, as well as helping deal with setbacks, because not every team wins every game, unfortunately. But in sports, so as in life, you're going to get knocked back now and again, but you have to just get out there next week and train harder and push harder and get the job done. So if you've never experienced that and it's happening in your work or family life, that might be a lot more difficult to deal with because you haven't had that past experience to draw on. Whereas if it's happening on the sports pitch and you say, okay, we lost this one, that one's done, let's win the next one, it lets you build that further and further, and again use that in other areas of your life too. Also, it helps you sleep. Sleep is obviously important for, existing. Being deprived of sleep can be like being drunk in a bad way. It can have serious physical health effects, but also like it starts to damage your brain pretty fast. And if you play a good hard game of, I'm using rugby as an example because that's what I play, but if you play a good hard game, you're wrecked. You can't do anything. You've been so focused, both mentally and physically, for so long that when you get home that night, you're probably ready for bed and you're going to have a better night's sleep than if you spent the day flicking through Netflix on the couch doing absolutely nothing. So folks, there we are. That's obviously drawing from my experience, both from a mental health point of view and a sports point of view. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm none of that. I'm not a mental health professional. If you feel like you're in trouble in any way or you're just feeling a bit down, do speak to a mental health professional. Start with your doctor. Start with a friend. As I said earlier, people have gone through this that you mightn't even know about, and just having that support network there helps a lot. If you think there's something more serious going on, please do see somebody. Again, all of this is just kind of my own rambling, but I hope it helps. And good luck to my team at the weekend. I'm sure I'll see you guys before then. But yeah, for everybody else, that's it for tonight, guys. So until tomorrow,